It's been in that fridge since I think about the 4th of July.
The Notebook came out.
So
Excellent.
so yesterday, Shreveport Police go to Piermont Oaks Tennis Club. They go to Southern Trace. They go to East Ridge Country Club, and they in two of the three locations, I guess, are successful in shutting down the tennis games. Can they do that? What are the rules for that? What do you think happened? Since right now details are a little thin.
Robert, those are great questions, and I like what you said earlier about the warrant. Let me share quickly two constitutional principles that I want your listeners to know, because this is the analysis that's going to be done. First of all, we don't lose our constitutional freedoms, like the freedom to move around, the freedom to exercise those basic rights that are included in the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. We don't lose our constitutional freedoms just because we are in a crisis. That's the first thought I want your listeners to know. The second thought is that our private property in this country is given the greatest protection of all. Our homes, the U.S. Supreme Court has written many times regarding the Fourth Amendment, our homes are the place where that is sacrosanct, where we enjoy our greatest privacy. And like you said, Robert, you need a warrant to go there. Well, we're now in circumstances you might call exigent circumstances. So I wish I could tell you, like you say, some of the details aren't clear to me yet, but and usually these things get worked out in the cool interior of a courtroom or during a litigation. We don't have time for that now. So the benefit of the doubt tends to be given to law enforcement and government right now. But I can tell you, the further the intrusion is, like on private property, you're changing the whole deal. It's not like you're telling some sort of public entity you got to go, where the requirement of the government is stronger, obviously. When you're dealing with private property, whether it's a home or a business, and we already know those rights have been dialed back. That's why everyone's doing drive-through food. Nobody can go inside anymore. But this is a new encroachment, and all I can say is it's hard to do a great analysis when I don't exactly know all the facts. The further the law enforcement, the further government goes in infringing upon our freedoms, the better chance they're going to have a problem when this is all over.
So to sum up, it's one thing for city officials to say we've got to close down the public tennis courts like at Quirby's, or what's the other one you were mentioning?
Bill Cockrell, yeah.
That's one thing. But for police to show up at a private club, Southern Trace, Piermont Oaks, East Ridge, and say, let's roll up those tennis courts, that's those tennis nets, that is in fact something else altogether, right?
It is, Robert. I mean, doing it on private property like at Southern Trace or Piermont Oaks or anywhere else that's privately owned is very similar. The next step's going to be to just walk right up on someone's yard saying, y'all can't be having a picnic here. Those are the further you go into the encroachment in personal freedoms, the more you're offending the Constitution. And
Okay.
as I say, we don't lose our constitutional rights. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay, swimming pools at these clubs. They all have swimming pools. And they can shut those down next, correct?
I mean, there's certainly, right now, that's the thing about our freedoms that we have to protect. Because right now, we're a law-abiding people. If we think it's best for the health experts say, the police say, everybody says, you got to do this, as law-abiding citizens, we tend to follow it, Aaron. But it doesn't change the fact that you're rolling up on a private club. You're telling people, well, that pool, y'all are too close, you're going to spread it. It gets much more dicey, Aaron.
Then can you close my pool in my backyard?
See, that's the next step. What if you wanted to have a few people over? Can you really we're telling people on their private property, what if you want to have a party from family members and somebody wanted to come over to your house? Everybody's not 6 feet apart anymore. So I'm telling you, that's the next logical step. And the further the encroachment goes, again, the U.S. Supreme Court for 200 years has been very clear about the Fourth Amendment. We enjoy our greatest protection in our homes. We enjoy some protection even in our vehicles. But the test they always use is, what is the expectation of privacy, Aaron? And the expectation of privacy in a private club is pretty great.
So
it's certainly greater than it.
Pardon me, Royal. To a great degree, therefore, and let me take the law enforcement and or the government side for a sec. Well, not exactly. The Constitution guarantees people's rights to do dumb things.
It does. It absolutely does. And I mean, the joke always was, you have a constitutional right to make stupid mistakes because we live in a free country. Now, once those mistakes go past a certain fear and they're breaking the law, y'all heard that expression before. Your right to freedom ends at the tip of my nose. In other words, you can't be in my space, you can't injure me, but you do have a right to freedom up to that point.
During yesterday's circumstances at these three facilities, well, let's just talk about Southern Trace and Piermont Oaks, I guess, because East Ridge is actually not in the city. If someone had said to the officers, and I don't know that they had a warrant or not, I would assume not for the moment. Right. If someone on the grounds, if an employee, if somebody said, do you have a warrant? Do you have a right to be here? What gives you the right to be here? Would that have stopped the police in their tracks? Would it have caused more of a confrontation? What do you think that sort of response would have done? Because there are people who will probably say that moving forward.
Robert, right now, it's like being pulled over and you're on the side of the road. Right now, all the power belongs to law enforcement. And I'm sure in most every instance that's the correct thing. But I can tell you later, for example, when we get to court and I'm representing someone, if that wasn't all done correctly, I'm going to tear that apart. That's going to be my argument, and I'm going to try to get the case dismissed. So to answer your question, when they come up, say the Shreveport police, who I know are doing the best job they can.
Pardon me, Royal. I didn't want to intimate that there was anything antagonistic on the part of law enforcement in this case. They're just doing their jobs. But absolutely. The rules are the rules, right?
The rules are the rules. So, Robert, here's a real conundrum. Suppose Southern Trace has its own private security force, and a lot of subdivisions have their own private security force. What happens? Those people are specifically hired and have their charge to protect that property. What if they roll out toward the Shreveport police? How does that get resolved? So what I'm saying is probably it would result in some arrests, and later the city of Shreveport might be liable for the conduct of those officers.
Someone posted on our page today, and this may sound outrageous, but I'm going to throw it at you. Tennis today, guns tomorrow.
Let me tell you what's interesting. Under the emergency law that the governor based his proclamation on, they cannot come and take your guns from you that you already own, but the sale of alcohol and guns and the transport of guns can be limited. Now, that's just one step from you can't go buy a gun right now, Aaron. You can't. And that's the sale of guns. But the guns you already own, of course, you get to keep them if, you know, in your vehicle, in your home. But that's just one step from saying, you know what, now we're going after the guns that are already owned. And I'm not one of these conspiracy people, but I am telling you how our rights slowly get eroded almost without us noticing.
Wait, Walmart's open. They sell guns. Are you saying I really can't even go buy a gun right now?
That's what the governor's proclamation said in there. And he's, alcohol, guns, hazardous stuff, all of it can be nailed down right now. I read the proclamation again this morning. So I don't think people are supposed to be selling guns right now, according to the
they're still selling alcohol. Come on.
Yeah, they are still selling alcohol, but at some point, Aaron, they could suspend it. Look, here's an example. Right now,
don't say that. You're going to cause a run, and I haven't had a chance to get there yet.
I know it. Listen, and I want the listeners to know that this is just me applying the law as it is to the facts as best we know. I could be mistaken. I could not know something which would change my view. But, Aaron, they're stopping people from loitering on the parking lots of the liquor stores, and they can do that. So that's just one more step from going in the liquor store itself and saying, y'all are done. This is too crazy. So
Chief Ben Raymond's going to join us to talk about this at 8:10. We look forward to getting his perspective, and I'm sure you'll be listening.
I will. And what y'all are doing is a real service, because in a free country, in a free society, there's always these tensions between now law enforcement and public health and our constitutional rights. So all these things that are uncertain, they're supposed to be colliding right now because we do have rights that don't move, but at the same time, there are exigent circumstances. So
You bet.